there is a truth that is almost never talked about. It was a quiet discovery that should have sent shockwaves around the world and changed the way we see everything. A very smart physicist named David Bohm found something in 1982 that turns our solid world on its side. Not with philosophy, but with the unchanging language of math and science. He showed that the world you are living in right now is not what it seems. The air you breathe, the ground you walk on, the device you hold in your hands, and even your body are all holograms. That's not a figure of speech or a high-minded spiritual thought. I mean that it is a real holographic projection that works. It's an image sent from a level of reality that is so fundamental and deep that you can't even sense it. So far, the story has been mostly about other people. Because you are not just a spectator if this world is a hologram, a huge and complicated illusion of light and energy. You are the one who is watching, feeling, and living. You have the projector in your hand. Let me slowly explain what that means. Right? When you see a hologram, like in a movie theater or a museum, you're seeing a two-dimensional piece of film project, a three-dimensional image, right? The picture looks so real, it's scary. It has shape and depth, and it feels solid and real. You could reach out and try to grab it, but your hand would not find anything there. The thing itself isn't really there, so it would go right through. It's a beautiful, complicated projection that comes from something more underlying. David Bohm made a huge discovery when he found that the universe works on the same principle. Objects, people, all matter and energy, and even space and time itself are all things that you can sense. This is what he called the explicate order. Our life is the unfolded projection that we can see. The implicate order, on the other hand, is the source of everything that is going on above the surface. This is the reality that is wrapped up, the source code from which everything else grows. And now I want you to feel this part deeply. This is the piece of the puzzle that will change everything for you. The deeper reality that is wrapped around the implicate order doesn't follow the rules of our everyday world. It doesn't know what distance is. It doesn't pick up on the steady flow of time. There is no such thing as a separation between those two things. Basically, this means that everything is linked at the most basic level of reality. I really want you to keep this in mind. I'm not talking about a spiritual or poetic link. I'm talking about a connection that can be seen, touched, and measured. Bohm named the part of this connection that holds it together the quantum potential. Your deepest thoughts and feelings, the memories of terrible events in the past, and all the exciting possibilities for the future are all part of this deeper order. They are always and continuously dancing back and forth, making the holographic reality you see as your life. For most people, hearing this is just an interesting bit of physics, something to talk about over dinner and then forget. What if I told you that this isn't just about how particles act in strange ways? Imagine if I told you that this one discovery solves the biggest mystery in human life. Why some people can change their lives so dramatically, almost as if by magic, while others are stuck in painful cycles of suffering their whole lives. Maybe the difference between being stuck and being free has nothing to do with how strong your will is, how disciplined you are, or even how bad your trauma was. What if this is the only difference? Some people have learned how to change the film that makes the projection, even if they don't understand how it works. At the same time, most of us are tired from running around inside the hologram and desperately moving the pictures around with our hands. Before we go any further, please understand that this is more than just a video. It is a transmission if you can already feel the deep truth in it. Sharing this is more than just sending a link. It's a way to make more people aware of something. By starting the non-local connection between souls who are ready to hear this message, you are making a strong group resonance that can be felt all over the world. Before we journey deeper into this, and I promise you, we are about to go to the very heart of the matter. I need to be completely open about who this is for. Take a moment to subscribe to make sure you stay tuned to this frequency for the whole time we're traveling together. It's like turning on the TV and making a stable, clear channel that lets these truths keep playing out in you long after you're done watching. This isn't a message for people who want simple answers or quick fixes. It is definitely not for people who want to be told that healing is easy, that making things happen is simple, or that all they have to do is think positive, and their whole world will become bright. To be honest, let's say it. You've tried all of those things already, right? You said the affirmations to yourself in the mirror. You've sat in meditation and thought about the future you want so badly. It's been so sure that if you just believed strongly enough, wanted it badly enough, and held on to that high vibration for long enough, everything would finally fall into place. That you've read a lot of books and watched a massive number of videos. It didn't happen. They said it would change your life in a deep and important way, but it never did. It's not your fault. I feel something about you, a quiet weight that you carry. You're hurting. However, not in a way that most people can understand. It's more than just sadness, anxiety, or the effects of trauma that haven't gone away. It's like a fundamental part of your being was broken a very long time ago, when you were a child. That was the part of you that was pure, that had faith in the world without any effort, and that naturally felt happy. And you've been carrying that wreckage around with you all your life for so long that you think it's just who you are. Oh my God, you tried to fix it. You have given your whole heart, all of your energy, and all of your hope to putting yourself back together. There have been times when you went to therapy, meditated, did breath work, learned about plant medicine, looked for energy healers, did shadow work, and worked on healing your inner child. You went to the workshops, read all the right books, and learned from all the wise teachers, and some of it did seem to work. As for a short time, you felt a change and a hint of light. But eventually, you'll hit that wall you know so well. It's like a wall that nothing can get through. You can understand all of your patterns and find the source of your pain, but you still can't seem to change them at their core. Time and time again, you see yourself doing the same things that hurt yourself, getting caught up in the same relationships, and feeling the same emotions. The secret pain that makes you feel even more alone and broken is the part that no one ever seems to talk about. When you look around, you see other people getting better. You see their happy posts on social media and hear about their big wins in support groups. As you listen, they talk about how they finally let go of their trauma, used their shadow, truly forgiven their parents, and found peace. You feel a deep, aching need to ask yourself, what is wrong with me? Is there a reason I can't do that? Am I just too broken? Was my trauma too deep or too bad? What happened to me that was so very different from what happened to them? We are deeply frustrated, emotionally worn out, and confused. But there is something even more tender and hard to admit underneath all of that. You're scared of hope now. It scares you because hope has turned bad. When you were a child, the people who were supposed to be your safe harbor turned out to be the ones making the storm. This crushed your hope. Every time you try a new way to heal yourself and it doesn't work, your hope dies a little more. You're weak against the crushing weight of disappointment when you have hope, and you're not sure you can handle another one of those falls. You've built a fortress to keep yourself safe. You're still interested, but you keep a safe distance. You keep what you learn about quantum physics, consciousness, and manifestation well out of reach with your mind. In the back of your mind, there's a quiet voice that says, "This sounds great in theory, but I doubt it will work for me. I'm not like everyone else. They don't understand how broken I am. Because of the way my damage is damaged, I am the only one who can't be fixed. I know this place very well. I know how you feel because I've been there. Not because I know your exact story, every journey through pain is sacred and unique, but because I have been there. That terrible feeling that you are fundamentally and permanently flawed. The feeling of being broken, of looking at other people who seem to go through life without any problems and wondering what it must be like to live in a world that hasn't deeply hurt you. So before we move on, here's what I want you to understand. The path we're taking together won't get around your pain. I will never tell you that your trauma wasn't real, that your childhood didn't matter, or that all you have to do is think a different thought and everything will be fine. That's what spiritual bypassing is all about. It's a harmful rejection of real life, and it doesn't work. But I'm going to share with you something that might seem completely impossible to you right now. David Bohm, a physicist, found something that I have spent years trying to fully understand. It goes against everything your trauma has taught you about how the world works. You're not hurt. Let that land, please. I don't mean that you're not broken anymore because you've worked on getting better. Just because you're a strong and tough survivor doesn't mean you're not broken. I mean you were never hurt. Not deep down. Not at your core. Not really at all. Being whole is the only thing that exists at the level of the implicate order, the deeper, hidden reality that David Bohm showed the world. Being whole doesn't break. And I really do understand how that can sound, like the spiritual sidestepping I said we would avoid. I know it can feel like I'm ignoring your very real and valid experience of being broken, but I want you to stay with me and let your heart open a little, because what Bohm found was not just a nice philosophy. The way our universe works is physics, and knowing it doesn't just change how you see things. Everything changes. If you really feel like you're the unfixable one, take a deep breath and say, "I am willing to see this differently," in the comments. Try not to act like the pain isn't there. That's your heart's gentle message, a tiny crack of light that you're letting in. The idea that the story you've been told about yourself might not be the whole truth. Let me show you exactly what David Bohm found. Not with complicated math, but with an incredibly beautiful and simple experiment involving ink and glycerin. Picture a cylinder made of clear glass that is full of a thick, clear liquid, like glycerin. We are now carefully putting one perfect drop of black ink into this balloon. It just floats there in the clear liquid, a separate and whole thing. Now we start to very slowly turn a handle that is attached to the cylinder. The drop of ink starts to stretch and warp as we turn it. It gets longer until it's just a thin thread, and then it diffuses and spreads out, getting fainter and fainter until it's gone from our view. Now the whole cylinder is completely clear again. It looks like there is no order at all, doesn't it? It looks like the ink drop has been broken up, its parts scattered all over the place and lost forever in the system's chaos. This is a picture of what you think has happened to your purity, to your core self. It was there, but then it was gone. The discovery that holds the key to everything, though, was a surprise that no one saw coming. When you slowly and precisely turn the handle in the opposite direction, something that can't happen starts to happen. The faint, spread-out ink particles start to come together. The ghostly thread starts to come back together. As you keep turning the page, the ink drop comes back together, sticking together from what seems like nothing until it shows up again in the same place and shape, as if it had never been gone. There was always order. It wasn't destroyed. It was just hidden inside the bigger system. This hidden state was named the implicate order by Bohm. The word implicate comes from the Latin word implicare, which means to wrap around. He also called what we see with our eyes, the reality we live in every day, the explicate order, also known as the unfolded or visible projection. Take a moment to think about what this really means for you. Not for a drop of ink, but because you are pure, for your ability to feel happy without planning to, for your trustworthiness, your safety in the world, and your deep sense of being whole. They didn't go away. What happened to you as a child did not break them and destroy them. They were wrapped up. They are still there, perfectly preserved within the implicate order of your being, ready to happen again when the circumstances are right. This is not a spiritual reward for being sad. You're not just getting a comforting thought from me to make you feel better. This is what Bohm's physics showed. The quantum level is the most basic level of reality we know of. He proved that nothing is ever really lost at that level. It's not like particles just disappear. They fold back into the huge quantum potential that lies beneath, and from there, they can and do unfold again. You are not the sum of all the bad things that have happened to you. No matter how many bad things have happened to you, you are not just those things. You are what Bohm called a totality unfolded throughout the whole of space. Please take a moment to breathe this in and let it settle in your heart. Your wholeness is here and now. It is whole and complete in the implicate order right now. You never got over it. From where you are, at the level of the explicate order, you just haven't been able to see it. This is the most amazing and empowering part of what was found. According to Bohm, the explicate order, or the physical reality we experience, is not a fixed thing that stays the same, in a constant state of being made and broken down, of swelling and opening up. What our senses see as a solid, continuous object moving through space is actually a series of these unfolding and enclosing events that happen incredibly quickly. It's like the frames of a movie. The universe is forming and breaking apart so quickly that it looks stable and solid to us. This means that your identity, the you that feels so fundamentally broken, is not a fixed, unchanging thing. It is a pattern of how things build up. And unlike statues, patterns can be changed. Putting the broken parts of yourself back together won't help you get better. From the perfection that was always there, waiting for you in the implicate order, a different, more complete pattern can emerge. Please do something now. Can you think of a time in your childhood, maybe before the worst of the trauma happened? Can you remember even a brief moment of being fully alive? Some people say it was laughing so hard they couldn't breathe, the sun on their face while they played outside, or a moment when they felt safe and loved. You didn't lose or destroy that other version of yourself. That was the pattern of your natural wholeness coming together to form the explicate order. That pattern, that feeling, that truth about who you are, is still there. It is still inside you and available to you. We no longer need to ask, how do I fix what's broken inside me? Asking yourself, how do I make the conditions that allow my wholeness to unfold again, is the real question that leads to real change. Bring your attention to the like button below as you consider that strong question. Think of that click as more than just a signal to a computer program. Think of it as an energetic yes to the whole universe. Through a simple physical action, you can say that you resonate with the truth that you are whole, sending a ripple of that coherence back into your own quantum field. Let's hold on to that feeling of hope if the image of that ink drop reappearing gave you one. Say it out loud in the comments. My wholeness is enfolded, not erased. This is a promise to yourself that what you think is lost is actually just hidden and waiting for your loving attention to bring it back home. Now, before you decide that this is all just lovely, poetic philosophy that doesn't help you with the real problems you face every day, like the anxiety that wakes you up in the morning, the deep depression that makes it hard to see, or the fact that you can't trust the people who try to love you, let me show you something else that Bohm's work revealed. That's because this is where the physics of the universe meets the details of your own life. This is where it becomes incredibly useful. Because I know your mind is smart, and that's a big reason you're here, I won't make this part too easy. Bohm came up with the idea of infinite causality, which completely changes the way we think about why things happen, especially trauma. Take a moment to think about a big event in history, like when Abraham Lincoln was killed. People will say John Wilkes Booth fired a gun if you ask them what caused it. At first glance, that seems to be the case. But Bohm would say that this isn't the real reason. It's just the last clear step in a chain of causes that goes on forever and is very complicated. The real reason is the invention of firearms, the biological evolution of humans as a whole, Booth's political and cultural environment as a child, his parents' childhood, and their parents' childhood before them. It's the unimaginable history of the universe coming together to lead to that one moment in the theater. There are an infinite number of causes that all work together in the implicate order to make that one event happen. Now gently use the same reasoning to think about the bad things that happened to you as a child. Feelings of narcissism from your mother, your father's emotional absence, or that one terrible event when you were 7 years old did not only cause the wound you carry. Those are the clear manifestations, the things that you can see happening. In the implicate order, on the other hand, there are an infinite number of causes. Some of these are the trauma that has been passed down through your family, the culture you were born into, your parents' unhealed childhood wounds, their parents' economic situation, the historical background of their lives, and even the subtle play of quantum probability. This understanding is so deeply freeing because of this. That means you no longer have to look for just one cause. You don't have to spend hours and hours trying to find the one memory to work through, the one person to forgive, or the one core belief to change that will finally help you heal. Since there's more than one reason, there are an infinite number of causes, and they are all still there, wrapped up in the implicate order. But, and this is where you get all of your power back, if there are an infinite number of things that are hurting you, then there are an infinite number of ways to heal. You don't need to fix the root cause. Right now, you can work with any point in the pattern. This is what happens when you change one small part of the unfolding on purpose. It changes the whole holographic projection. You might be thinking, that sounds too much. What am I going to do to change all the causes? You're not. You will learn how to work with the field that holds them all together. Bohm found a field that is unlike anything we had ever seen or heard of at the quantum level. It's not electromagnetic, and it's not pulling. It is something completely new that links and permeates everything. It was called the quantum potential by him. Not like gravity or magnetism, which weaken with distance, The quantum potential has the same strong effect everywhere at all times. This is what makes it so revolutionary. On a basic level, this means that everything is always and simultaneously affecting everything else. Your thoughts are not just random electrical sparks in your head. They are patterns that move through the quantum potential. Your emotions are not just private thoughts and feelings. They are vibrations that connect with this field of all beings. You can change your internal state by cultivating a genuine state of coherence with the deeper order of reality, not by forcing yourself to think positive thoughts. This changes the information in the field that organizes all the particles that make up your reality. This is the real reason why affirmations don't always work, and techniques for manifesting things do sometimes seem to work. From inside the hologram, you can't change anything. The film needs to be changed. You need to get to the implicate order, which is where the patterns of reality are hidden. And you don't have to work harder or struggle harder to get to it. Alignment, coherence, and becoming deeply aware of the quiet, perfect order that lies just below the surface of your life's chaos are the ways to get there. If the thought of having an infinite number of ways to heal makes you feel even a little better, ground that feeling in reality right now by liking this video. That one simple action should tell the quantum potential that you are now ready to receive healing and solutions from all sorts of unexpected places. I need to talk about the big problem that everyone sees, so let me be clear about something. Right now, I can feel the question coming up in your mind. The sharp, protective part of you is rising up to question this. There's a part of you that feels excited and connected, because this scientific framework fits with a deep, intuitive truth you've always known. But there is another part, and it is probably the louder part right now, that is already building a wall against this hope. It's the part that asks, okay, but if I'm the source of the projection, then why in the world did I project a childhood that was so painful? Why would I ever let the bad thing happen? Does this mean I'm to blame for everything? Is this just a more advanced and scientific form of the idea that you create your own reality, which means I'm ultimately to blame for my abuse? Let me answer that question with all the clarity I have. Not at all. Without a doubt, not. The aware person you are, the sensitive child you were, and the grown-up you now did not cause your childhood trauma. It's not like you were sitting there in a state of enlightenment and power, consciously making your reality come true. You were a child, a weak participant in a reality that was being projected from the implicate order through an infinite web of causes that had nothing to do with how good you were, what you thought, or how high your vibrational frequency was. But here is the important and subtle difference that David Bohm's work shows. This is the key that opens your agency right now. He recognized that the choice of possibilities that emerge from the implicate order into our explicit reality is fundamentally influenced by consciousness, which is the act of observing. The simplified, popular science version of the observer effect you may have heard in manifestation circles is not this. This is the real physics behind it. Before it is seen, a particle doesn't exist in a single place in the strange world of quantum mechanics. It is in a state called superposition, which means it is full of all possible outcomes at the same time. All possible outcomes are wrapped up in one. If you measure something or observe something, then this wave of possibilities collapses into a single event, a specific unfolding. Bohm added to this thought. It was his idea that the observer isn't making reality out of thin air. Instead, the observer is part of the process of choosing. Think of it this way. The implicate order is like an endless holographic movie that has all the possible scenes and realities. Your consciousness is like the projector's light. What part of the movie gets shown on your life screen depends on the lens it shines through. The most important thing to remember about this comparison is that this selection process is not about thinking positively. For coherence's sake, picture yourself in a room with a simple radio. Right now, there are a lot of radio frequencies broadcasting at the same time in the air all around you. There are stations that play pop music, classical music, political talk shows, emergency signals, and fields of static that go on and on. There are many of them in the same space, and they are all going through your body right now. But your radio is only playing one. It's playing the one station that its tuner is lined up with, which is also the one frequency that it can understand. This whole part of your being, your mind, your nervous system, and your deepest beliefs about the world is the tuning mechanism. You are not making the broadcasts. They are all possibilities that already exist. You get to choose which one becomes your audible experience. Let's go back to your life and your pain now. Trauma doesn't just make memories that hurt. It changes the way your whole system is tuned in a big way. Your coherence changes to the frequencies of danger, abandonment, not being worthy, and not being safe. It's not because you're flawed or doing something wrong. It is a brilliant, flexible way to stay alive. Because it was what kept you alive, trauma retuned your system to be very alert to any possible threat. As an adult, the threat may have been gone for a long time, but you are still tuned to that frequency. You are still repeating those patterns of fear and mistrust from the implicate order, even though you are not aware of it. You do it not because you want to or because you are choosing to, but because that old, painful broadcast is still a part of your nervous system, your emotional habits, and your core beliefs. Because of this, traditional ways of healing can sometimes make you feel like you're going nowhere. You're making up stories about what your mom did in therapy. EMDR is helping you deal with the painful memories. You're trying to change the way you think with CBT. All of these things are helpful and valuable, but they are all attempts to work at the explain level. The projection on the screen is being worked on. That being said, what if you could learn how to change the frequency you are tuned to in the quantum potential in a kind and gentle way? Let's make a choice together if you catch yourself listening to an old, painful station. Say out loud in the comments, "I am trying to reach a new frequency." You don't need to be there yet. The power is in reaching out, in being brave enough to say, "I'm ready to hear a different song." I know what you're thinking now. Okay, I get it. However, what do I need to do that? What method do you use? I'm going to give you an answer that is both very simple and very uncomfortable for many of us, because the way you change the tuning isn't a new trick, a 10-step process, or a clever way to hack your brain. Here is the answer. Please hear this with your heart as well as your mind, and let it pass through your intellectual defenses for a moment. The answer is that you need to finally let yourself feel what you've been avoiding all your life. Stay with me here, please. Everything exists together as a single unit in the implicate order, in that deeper, wrapped reality. Your brightest happiness and darkest fear, your complete wholeness and deepest wound, your pure innocence and deepest shame are all there, present at the same time, and all a part of the whole you that can't be split up. However, you learned to be a selective projector a long time ago in the explicate order, in your conscious, daily life. You learned to only let certain parts of that whole thing happen, the parts that made you feel safe, the parts that were okay, and the parts that wouldn't completely overwhelm you. In order to protect yourself from the raw, burning energy of your pain, you learn to bury it deep inside you. It all makes sense now. It was a brilliant plan that helped you get through a terrible childhood. But here is the deep paradox that Bohm's physics shows. If you use your energy to stop a pattern from unfolding, you are actively and permanently keeping it folded. This will not make it go away. You actually keep it stable. It's locked in place. By making it the frequency you want to avoid all the time, you keep your whole system tuned to it, which is strange. Your resistance is a form of focus, and it keeps the pattern in a suspended animation state, where it is always present but always wrapped up. It colors the whole projection. Don't try to push through the pain any further. The only way out is to let it finally finish its journey and let the pain that was hidden come out. You shouldn't try to live in it forever or make it your new permanent reality. Instead, you should let it move through you as a wave of energy, as a temporary unfolding that can naturally unfold back into the totality, this time without the charge that held it shut. If you want to know what meditation teachers really mean when they say, "Sit with your emotions," read on. As a somatic therapist, this is what you should aim for when they help your body complete the trauma response. In the words of David Bohm's physics, it means letting the whole holographic pattern unfold and then unfold naturally, without your resistance getting in the way. And when you finally stop trying to control the images on the screen and let the deeper order speak through you, something very important changes. This changes your coherence. You can't make it change. You have to give up. Not by fighting, but by accepting reality as it is at its most basic level. Do not fight the projector anymore. You stop frantically moving the hologram around with your hands. You know in your cells that you're not in the hologram. You are the light that makes it happen. And from that holy place of awareness, new patterns of wholeness and peace can finally start to form. I know this is the bravest part of the path. You are recognizing your own bravery by giving this video a like. It tells your nervous system and the field around you that you respect the courage it takes to face what you've been avoiding. This is the bravest thing I've ever done. I want you to show your courage if you're ready to stop fighting and start feeling, even if it's just a little. I am making space for what is true. Write in the comments. If you read this, you promise yourself that you won't give up on your heart when the old waves of pain start to rise again. It's a very kind thing to do for yourself. I know that what we've been looking into still sounds very big and far away. That's why I'm taking it out of the realm of physics and putting it right into your hands, heart, and right now. Let's make it clear. As of this moment, quantum mechanics is no longer just a theory, but also the most useful tool you could ever have. This is where it all comes together when you wake up with that familiar knot of anxiety in your stomach, when you can't trust someone who is being truly kind to you, and when you ruin something good in your life because a feeling of wholeness is so scary, new, and dangerous. Right now, this means these things for you. Today, there is a quantum field around you that you are living in. A field of endless possibilities that is responding not to your struggle, but to how you are aligned. Instead of your desperate wanting, it should be your deep coherence. It doesn't matter what you do, but who you are. You need to understand a very important piece of this puzzle. David Bohm found that the quantum potential, which is an invisible field that holds everything together, has a unique quality that he named active information. There is more to this energy than just brute force. Things like matter and energy are organized and informed by information, which is alive. The analogy is like a huge, strong ship being led through a dangerous channel by a simple radar signal. The radar waves can't move the ship because they don't have enough power. They are really subtle, but they hold important data that tells the ship's engines and rudder how to steer with all of its immense power. The way the quantum potential works is the same. It has a small informational effect, but it is the intelligence that organizes the whole universe, including the particles that make up your body and your life. Your focus, your attention, your emotions, and the way you resonate with the world are not making it happen from scratch. The active information is being sent to the quantum potential, though. They are always giving information to the field and choosing which of the infinite patterns that are folded up in the implicate order will be unfolded. Here is the most beautiful and kind part of this whole truth. You don't need to be perfect at this. You don't have to learn a hard, complicated method to do it right. Why? Because your wholeness is already in the implicate order. It's not your job to make it happen, get it, or earn it. Your only job is to stop getting in the way of how it will naturally and inevitably happen. You need to stay out of its way. Let me give you a real-life example that you may recognize all too well. You make a new friend. Also, this person might be good for you. They are thoughtful, open, mature, and reliable, and they are kind. All of your internal systems go into high alert as soon as you get close, though. It's like your body starts to ring with a silent alarm. There seem to be red flags everywhere. You have a strong desire to put some space between yourself and others, to pull away, and to protect yourself. It starts to make sense to you that this could never work, that they are actually dangerous, and that trusting your gut is the stupidest thing you could do. Let's take a look at this situation from 3 different points of view. From the usual point of view of trauma, this all makes sense. Your nervous system is doing a great job of using an old way to stay alive. It is stopping you from hurting yourself again. It will do its job. From the point of view of common manifestation, you could try to fight this feeling. You could try to push it away by telling yourself things like, I am safe in love. I deserve to be in a healthy relationship. Love wins over fear for me. You might try to force yourself to be honest and trusting, but this usually only makes things worse and causes you more stress and conflict. Now, though, let's see what's going on from David Bohm's point of view, which is the point of view of holographic reality. Your current state of coherence, which was shaped and tuned by the things that happened to you as a child, is tuned to identify patterns of relationship abuse, disappointment, and danger. The quantum potential is responding to that coherence in a reliable way. In a way, you are projecting a hologram where closeness means being vulnerable, and being vulnerable means terrible pain. This is the right thing for you to do. You're not hurt. You are coherent, but at a different frequency. So the real shift is not making yourself trust someone even though your body is telling you, danger. You are at war with yourself. To make a real change, you must first become lovingly aware of what is inside you that is causing this projection. Finally, without judging, letting the whole pattern play out is what it means. It's to feel the pure fear of being open and vulnerable that lives in your cells. To let the deep, unashamed grief come out for the safe love you never had as a child come to the surface. You have to feel angry that you were put in a situation where you had to be so alert just to stay alive. The next step is to realize that this pattern, this storm of emotions, this visceral explosion of fear is not the ultimate truth of who you are. This is when you take back your power. It's a hologram. A broadcast is being sent out from a certain point of coherence. You, as the loving, silent observer, can pick a different form of coherence. To do this, you can't hide your fear or act like you're safe when you're not. You achieve this by understanding that both fear and trust are just possible outcomes of the implicate order. They are both wrapped up there. Both of them are possible for you. There is safety all around. That place holds deep, soulful love. How do I get rid of this fear? Is no longer the question. Now the question is, which possibility do I choose to be consistent with right now? Clicking the like button is more than just feedback. If that example of the heart's hologram made you think of patterns you've seen in your own life. By becoming aware of that pattern, you choose to change it. As an observer, you are the one who shines a light on the hologram. This is the first and most important thing that you can do to change the projection. And this is where the science really changes things. Anything can happen anywhere at the quantum level, as Bohm proved. It's a fancy word for something very simple and mind-boggling. All points in space and time are naturally linked. Distance is not real. The idea of separation comes from our limited, clear understanding. This means that the world inside you and the world outside you are not separate. They show the same underlying implicate order from two different points of view. There is no way to separate them. As you change your internal state of coherence, as you let go of old, painful patterns and start to gently and consciously align with the feeling of wholeness that is already inside you, you are changing the active information you are sending into the quantum potential. This must then change what happens in the outside world. Not by magic, not all the time, and not with complete micromanaging control over every little thing. But it does happen. It is real, can be measured, and is backed up by science. An old saying that says, "As within, so without," is based on this physics. This is the reason why spiritual leaders say things like, "Be the change," or "Embody the frequency." They are pointing to this basic quantum truth, even if they don't know much about it. If you change what you are coherent with on the inside, the quantum potential has to set up a new reflection around you. You can't change the holographic world from the outside. I need to be very clear about something. This doesn't mean you caused the bad things that happened to you in the past. The principle of infinite causality shows that there were a lot of factors at play that you didn't even know about or have control over. But it does mean that you have a lot of control over your life right now. Not power over your past, over other people's actions, or over everything that happens in the outside world. You have full control over your own coherence, though. What frequency you are tuning into. You have control over what parts of the infinite implicate order you want to let happen through you. You are not being harmed by the hologram. You are where it comes from. It's not gone either. The innocence, joy, trust, love, and ease you've been searching for so desperately are still there. It was always there. It has been waiting for you, patiently wrapped up in the implicate order the whole time. It's been there all along. You couldn't see it because your system was making sense of a different pattern. You now know, though. You get it now. You have the power to create your outer world if you start to feel the deep truth that your inner world is the source code for it. In the comments, say, "As within, so without." How I feel inside matters. This should serve as a reminder that your most important job is not to fix the world out there, but to take care of your own coherence garden in here. Your everyday life is a holographic projection. The anxiety that flutters in your chest, the triggers that take over your nervous system, the relationship patterns that break your heart, and the deep, aching feeling that you are broken are all real. Yes, it's real. It is really, really affecting you. But it's not the whole truth about who you are. It won't last forever, and it's not what makes you who you are. David Bohm said that you are undivided wholeness in flowing movement at the deepest level of your being. This is the level that scientists are just now starting to reach with their tools and equations. You are not a broken, static object. You are the expansive whole of the universe expressing itself for a short time through this one-of-a-kind and priceless unfolding that we call your life. Everything starts to change when you really understand this, not just as an interesting thought in your head, but as something you feel in your body. You didn't make the change happen. That doesn't mean you prayed or visualized more strongly, or that it happened faster. It takes place because you stopped trying to fix the hologram and began to remember that it came from you. It is your attention that turns the wave of endless possibilities into a single experience. You are the coherence that gives the quantum potential its active information and tells it how to organize things. You have the projector in your hand. So the painful question, "Am I broken?" that you've been asking yourself your whole life, was never the right one to ask. What am I now choosing to project is the real question that gives you power. Let your agreement with this ultimate truth be an act of creation as you sit with it. Right now, liking this video is a physical way to ground yourself in this new reality. Voting in the quantum field for the truth of your own undivided wholeness strengthens the coherence in your own energy. These are the last words I want to say to you today. They are the truth I hope you will remember when life gets quiet. You were never hurt. Not really at all. Not deep down. As you were broken, you went through a very real, very painful, and very specific pattern that came from the implicate order. Your history and ancestry have shaped this pattern over and over again. It was held in place by a nervous system that learned to work with trauma to keep you safe. After that, it was projected as your holographic reality with amazing consistency. You're not the hologram, though. The source has always been you, and your wholeness has never stopped existing at that source level. Take this truth all the way down to your bones. Say this in the comments if you're ready to start letting go of the identity of the broken one. I was never broken. I'm not living up to the person I was told I had to be. This isn't just an affirmation, it's moving things forward. It's you running away from a story that was never really yours. It was just wrapped up and out of sight, waiting patiently for your coherence to change so that it could unfold into your experience again. This means that the holy work you have to do is not about making yourself better. You can let go of that heavy load. You no longer need to try so hard to put yourself back together. The work is just to see yourself as you really are, to make a safe enough space inside yourself to finally feel what has been there for a long time. It's to let the full, painful pattern come out and finally let go of its hold on your body. It means to change your coherence by changing how you relate to what is in a kind, loving way. This is the math. This is what mystics have always known, and now physicists are proof of it. The real world is a hologram. The observer is a part of what is happening. And nothing is ever really lost. You are safe in your wholeness. It was ready for you the whole time. Would you please leave a single word in the comments below if this journey we've been on together has touched you deeply, if you felt a quiet click of recognition in your soul. That feeling of, maybe I'm not as broken as I thought. The energy you are experiencing right now can be expressed in just one word. Let me know you're here. Please let me know that you are a part of this important conversation. We're now in the fourth part of our deep dive, calling it reality. Here's the part about what we just talked about that no one ever tells you. We have talked about how the universe looks like a hologram. We've talked about how that projection comes from you. We haven't talked about the last, most important piece of the puzzle yet, though. Bohm himself helped make this discovery, which changes how you consciously interact with this holographic universe in every way. It has to do with the crazy, complicated, and mysterious organ that you have in your head right now. A very smart neuroscientist at Stanford named Carl Pribram used David Bohm's holographic model of the universe to find something amazing about the brain. There was proof for the idea that the brain works like a holographic processing machine. This discovery explains why some people seem to have no trouble getting to the implicate order and all of its endless possibilities, while others are stuck in the explicate order and can't get out. It all depends on the lens you use to see reality. Everything about reality, healing, and making things changes when you finally understand what this lens is and what your brain is doing right now as it reads these words. That next piece is coming soon, but before I tell you what it is, if you feel like you have to know what happens next, then click that subscribe button. It's not just a way to get notifications. It's a conscious choice to keep this energetic channel open and keep getting the codes that will help you learn how to be both the hologram and the projector. You are both the hologram and the screen. You are the wave and the one who sees it. You are the unfolding and the source that will never end. You've always been that way. Finally, if this message has helped you, this isn't the end of your journey. Send this message to others. In this holographic universe, every share makes the signal stronger, which helps the group become more aware. You become a lighthouse that sends out a frequency of wholeness that will find hearts that are ready to receive it from far away.